evening wherever you are. This is another unscripted auction review. Today we're looking at a 396 mile 2005 Jeep Wrangler SE on Bring a Trailer. This just launched a few seconds ago. I just happened to see it and figured I'd record. This one stood out to me for a whole lot of reasons. Number one, it has 396 miles on it, so it's basically a brand new vehicle, at least in terms of miles. Let's have a look here. It's an SE, which is the base trim. It's a 2005, which was toward the end of the TJ production. These came out in 97. These did have this one actually is the 4-liter in it. I was going to say they started with the 4-cylinder. That might have been discontinued by 2005. I forget if they dropped they had replaced originally the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with the 2.4, which is a Chrysler engine. But obviously this is the 4-liter, so it's irrelevant. Let's see here. It's in Athens, Alabama, 396 miles. It's a 4-liter with a 4-speed automatic, so not the most desirable combination with that automatic, but deep barrel green, which is a pretty color. I think that color was introduced with the WK Grand Cherokee, the same here. Dark slate gray cloth, 15-inch creased 5-spoke wheels. I've never heard that term. Interesting. Blah, blah, blah. Accident-free Carfax. Let's see here. Initially owned by a robotics company for testing purposes until 2017. All right, so I believe that this vehicle actually was auctioned off elsewhere. I think it might have been on Cars and Bids at one point. It sounds familiar to me. But let's see here. I believe, if I remember correctly, at the time it had some holes screwed in it for various different things. It had obviously been used for something. All right, not a lot of information there other than that the selling dealer got the truck last year and it's got a Colorado title. I did notice as I was looking through here that it has an old I don't think these are old, but a Colorado emissions exempt sticker, which vehicles get when they're new in Colorado. So first glance at the photo here, it looks like maybe the top's got a little bit of fading to it, but otherwise it looks really, really nice. Looks like it probably was kept indoors, but we'll see up close. All right, rear, maybe the top's not faded. These are not very good photos, if I'm honest. We've got a lot of shadows here. A lot of reflections. They look like they were shot with a camera, or I'm sorry, with a phone rather than a good camera. Definitely not great photos. We've got, I believe this is the correct size, 215/75 Goodyear Wranglers, and there was a full-size spare. This probably came with a compact spare at that point. I know they initially did, which I thought was always kind of silly. There are those cloth seats. These were an option. Originally they had, they came with a vinyl seat as standard. That said, these half doors were standard, so it's definitely a very low option SE. Let's see here. The mini floor console at notes and the CD player, that was all standard. I believe the CD player was standard at this point. It was probably just a production simplicity thing, just to reduce the number of configurations. No service history notes here. That skid plate looks brand new underneath, which is really nice to see. These typically rust. They were just a thin layer of paint. Let's see that. Carfax. It's showing two owners. One was 12 years in Colorado and another was 5 years. It was in Colorado Springs. Not a massive research city, but there are some research developments that go on there, things that generally are associated with the armed forces. It's possible to use something there. It was offered in Knoxville, Tennessee in May of 2023, so a little over a year ago. It looks like a dealership in Oak Ridge. It's an ironic place for it to be after Colorado Springs. Serviced it. And then it was sold by that dealership in August. That might have been on Cars and Bids at that point. I can have a look later and see. Let's see. We'll go through the photo gallery really quick. There's not a lot of photos of this one. I'll try to zoom these in as I can. All right, we've got that pretty color. It's got the trail rated badge. This, for a while, was on all Jeeps with a low range, which, of course, the TJs had. There were no two-wheel drive TJs. There was a two-wheel drive JK, the version after. Maybe see a little bit of fading on the fender flares here, but boy, it looks really nice otherwise. That also might just be the shadows. Because again, these are not great photos. I'll zoom in on a few of them here. Yeah, we've got some sort of a badge on the back. Can't quite read it. Looks like maybe it says Gilbert's. Don't recall that as being the name of a Jeep dealer, but you never know. This is almost 20 years ago. This car was originally sold. Got the little jockey in the background. I mean, this thing just looks spectacular. It truly looks like a new vehicle. Maybe some little scuffs in the flares here. I don't think you can still buy these flares. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody aftermarket makes them, but I'm not familiar with that. I'm not as familiar with TJs as I am some of the other Jeeps. All right, we've got a Gilbert's badge from, oh, this must be the selling dealer. Yeah, in Athens, Alabama. I think it says We Be Jeeping. So this is a Jeep specialist dealer, or at some point here. Rear window's got quite a few little scratches in it. You can get these out. They're not real easy, or you could probably just replace all the plastic in it. These scratched basically just by looking at them, so it's not surprising. All right, we've got very glossy paint here. Really, really nice paint. Looks like it probably just got a bit. I heard it. Nice close-ups here, right? The photos are improving. I think there's an argument here for how many photos do you really need of a car with virtually no miles on it, but I still at least think that good lighting is critical here. This is I believe that's a factory vinyl top on this. It doesn't look aftermarket to me. We can see a bit of the frame back here. That barcode is factory, lists the VIN on it. And here's the sway bar bushing that looks like it's toast. Not a hard thing to fix. Frame looks amazing. Tires I'm sure are original and should be discarded if you're ever going to drive it. It's basically a museum piece, but what kind of museum do you have where you've got a base TJ from the second to last model year? It's kind of a strange museum. But there are those half doors. These little panels come out here. What was this thing used for? Some scuffs in the glove box there. Still got the airbag warning. 2 keys. Looks like factory keys probably. Let's see if we get a close up. They're at least the right shape. There's that mini console. You didn't get the armrest in this one. Like I said, a pretty basic vehicle. I did like that upholstery. Kind of had that zigzag in it. And those colors. It's kind of fun. A lot of scuffs on the glove box door. You'd probably find a glove box door that's in better shape. There's that steering wheel. This was a WJ Grand Cherokee steering wheel that they put on them later. It looks like something was attached to the steering wheel here. And maybe here too. It might have been part of that robotics company, whatever they did. 396 miles. It does have the orange needles here. These fade real quickly, so this thing certainly was indoors for the most part. Only switch here is for the overdrive, which was part of that, part of the automatic. We don't have anything else. This is where the lockers and on a Rubicon at least, and fog lights. Actually, no, the fog lights were on the stock at this point. No air conditioning here. Don't necessarily need it in one of these if you're going to use it with the top down, but don't have it either way. Standard basic CD player. This is the oval-ish shape that they were on all the Chrysler products at this point. Pretty much all of them at least. There's the rear seat. Looks good. Carpeting back there. So it did have the rear seat. I know in the earlier TJs the rear seat was an option on the basic cars, but it might have been standard by 05. I don't actually have that brochure in my collection. Underhood has been cleaned. Looks really nice. I hear more bidding. We'll take a look and see what it's bid up to. Underhood, it's obviously been detailed, but it still looks good. Some little light scratches here and there maybe. Nothing to worry about. There's no ABS on this one. The pump would be there. It might not have been an option on the SE anyway. That might have been a Sport and higher. There's the VIN stamped into the frame. Even the body bushings are, those actually look great. That rear differential is that Dana 35 on this, not the Dana 44. Some light rust maybe starting, but it's I think more, you can see it right in there. This is going to be probably more due to the fact that these were just a thin layer of paint put on. It's unfortunate they didn't really paint suspension components more, but also probably just from the last year or so in the southeast would do that. That is a factory Dana cap on there. You can see a little bit of oil seepage, I don't know why it's going that way. You can see a little bit there, but certainly nothing to worry about. Wouldn't even bother changing it. Factory markings there. All that's factory looking. All that's factory. Some rust on the drive shaft, but that's just it's exposed metal. Getting a lot of bids actually. Just got another one. More factory markings. Underneath, oh my gosh, this tub is amazing. There's just not a speck of rust. 231 transfer case. I should go back here. It's right there. The command track is the only way you could get a Wrangler SE. Just didn't have the Rubicon's transfer case. Obviously, it's not a Rubicon. More factory markings. A couple little scuffs on the skid plate here. Is this the fuel tank skid? I'm a little bit disoriented here. No, we're going sideways. I don't know what we're looking at. It might be the transfer case. I thought the transfer case skid was smaller, but I don't know. Disoriented there. There's that drive shaft with the original Dana Spicer stickers on it. Here we've got This is, you guys can't see this, it's cut off a little bit, but it was built in February, on February 24th of 2005 by Daimler Chrysler at the time. That's the door VIN. We apparently have 2 pictures of that, and we're almost at the end. Last photo is of the jack, which I'm confident has never been removed. It's underneath one of the seats. All right, we're back to scratch here. Oh, it's already up to $10,000. So yeah, this is a nice looking Jeep, for sure. Let's see, I'm gonna try to pull up the Cars and Bids listing really quick. All right, we are now on Cars and Bids. We're gonna try to find it here. I probably should have searched by the year. 2005 Jeep Wrangler, see what it sold for then. At least I think that's where it was listed. There it is. So this was in August of 23, so a little over a year ago. It was bid to $21,000. It didn't sell. I'm not going to go through these photos here, other than I do see a couple things that stand out immediately. I can click on the big one here. But yeah, at the time it was in Knoxville, Tennessee by a dealer. It was bid to $21,100. We'll see how Bring a Trailer does and if the market has changed. Whoop, that was not the photo I wanted. This is what I wanted to click. The one thing I noticed here is it did have a spare tire cover from a Jeep dealership in Colorado Springs, the Pharisee Boys. I wonder if that is still included. It'd be unfortunate if not, because it's such a relic. Much better photos here on Cars and Bids. Way better. Still not great, but way better. They are also showing a little scratch maybe there. Be curious to know if that's still there. The only thing I don't like about them is how it, when you go off of the photos, it defaults you back. Much better detail photos here. It had 394 miles on, so it has essentially not been driven. Yeah, and here's where they had, like, there's a drilled hole in the cup holder here, and one on the other side of the cup holder. A little, looks like a little chunk missing. This is where Bring a Trailer could have done a little more research, I think. Plus, there's the owner's manual, which isn't pictured in the other listing. I'd want to know if all this stuff is still included. Apologize for zipping around so fast. They also did some undercarpet photos, always nice. I mean, not a worry on this thing, but still nice. It had a Duralast battery then. I don't know if it still does. I have to go back and look. Much better photos on Cars and Bids. We can see a little bit of rust here in the, right in the, I'm actually not sure what you would refer to this particular spot. I guess the spring seat there. And this, a little bit, obviously nothing to worry about, but it's still there. Go back here, because I thought there were more holes drilled in it. Yeah, here you go. Why do I remember these things? Something was obviously mounted back here behind. This is the passenger seat. So something was mounted right there on a bunch of holes, which I'll go back to the Bring a Trailer listing in a second and see if I can find all that. Drive shaft looked just as rusty back then. There's that old Colorado emission sticker up close. Yeah. There's also a property of ITT. I don't know what ITT is. ITT Tech? Wasn't that a tech school? Don't know. I think that sticker was still there. Let's go back to the Bring a Trailer listing and just see if we can see those carpet marks. It's a real disservice that the dealer currently selling it wouldn't have taken those. Yeah, I mean, there you can see there's one there, and probably one there. So these are probably drilled into the underneath the vehicle too. A real shame that they did not get those photos. Alrighty, I will, at the end of this video, I will put the final selling price up, or the final bid price if it doesn't meet reserve. Thanks for watching. As always, please be sure to like this video. Please be sure to share it, and definitely subscribe to my channel so you don't miss more of these. Alright, thanks for watching.